Hello, everyone. I hope you are all doing well today. It is Apex Trades here coming at you with another market sector analysis. So today was a bit of a nothing day in the markets, pretty low volume overall, not a whole lot of movement across any of the sectors. We saw either brief pullbacks or brief bounces, continuation days like you see on SPY, but overall nothing crazy. So checking out SPY, the main pivot high that we are watching is that 381.49. Yesterday I had mentioned how this dragonfly candle with a long lower wick could be confirmed as an interim pivot low if today's session broke the high. So we got that. I'll mark it down as a potential pivot low. However, not a very strong one, not one that I'm paying too much attention to. We'll call it 376.36. But the main pivot low that I am watching is ultimately that 364.82. So if the bulls lose that 376 level and make a higher low, no problem there at all. And if we continue out, then all the better. But pretty low volume day, like I mentioned, nothing crazy going on. I did notice that we seem to have a bit of a pattern here developing, or that has been developing for some time. I kind of like to screw around with trend lines like this to find a base or to find some sort of direction. Let's see what this does. So we have a bit of a channel pattern going on here. Price action respecting these boundaries quite well. So we have a little bit of room up to, that 385 psychological level, which would make perfect sense, correlating well with that trend line, maybe a little bit above it, closer to 386, 87, depending on how long it takes us to get up there. And looking at this now, being in the upper half, but still in the middle part of the channel, what I can see forming is a little bit of a bull flag. But ultimately, that pivot high here of 381.49 is the key level that the bulls need to break if we are to see any continuation out of this pattern. The dollar continues to bounce. So far getting an impressive bounce on this pullback here. Looking in on the hourly chart, what we need to see in order to confirm that daily bounce is an hourly trend change. So what do we have? We have a dump, strong bounce, looking for a higher low compared to this pivot down here. And if we see continuation above that lower pivot high, then we can confirm an hourly trend change, thus a daily bounce. But so far, this looks very good. The daily bulls for the dollar need to break that 90.72 level and ultimately need to defend that 89.20 level. So plenty of room to work with. Have a bit of a pocket of resistance here, as there is another resistance at 91. So the bulls need to really prove to themselves and everyone else that they are the real deal and this bounce is legitimate out of this daily falling wedge. It is interesting to see how the correlation continues in unison between the major market sectors, SPY with a strong day, well, reasonably strong day, and dollar with a reasonably strong day. So that inversion is not taking place, as I've mentioned in previous videos, likely due to the surge in money that is flowing into the broader markets that is offsetting that dollar bounce. QQQ, reasonably strong day today after a nice bounce yesterday, little red to green move. Strong doji candle, see continuation over the high. Main pivot high that the bulls need to break is at 319.39. We can count yesterday's low of 311.20 as our new pivot low since we broke over the high, although the hourly chart has yet to confirm it. So what do we need again for the daily bounce confirmation? We need an impulse move up, a higher low, and a break of that pivot high. So things look okay, but we do need to see that continuation higher. IWM, little bit of a pullback day today. Nothing crazy. New pivot high that the bulls need to watch or need to break is that 211.73 level. We have a short-term pivot low of 204.66, call it 205 psychological. And then ultimately all the way down here at 190.94. So again, this is a very short-term pivot level at 205. If we break it, I'm not too worried so long as we make a higher low compared to this 190 level, which the bulls look fully poised and ready to do. Carved out a tremendous amount of space. Any pullback promptly be brought back up, maybe form a brief equilibrium since we broke this level, if that does transpire. If not, would you see continuation higher, then that's fine by me too. SMH, so notice this swap of correlation here. A little bit of a wordy sentence. Normally SMH and QQQ move up in relative unison to each other. SMH is a little bit more volatile, but notice how it's pulling back today, forming a inside bar, while QQQ moves up. So it's interesting to see how that correlation is now switched to an inverse one. We'll see how long that trend lasts. So we do have an inside bar that formed today. So watch the high or the low to break for directional confirmation. We do look a little extended, a little toppy here. RSI kind of rounding off. Looks like price is struggling to get above that 236 pivot level. Ultimately, the bulls need to break that 236.75 level. So it looked like it potentially stalling. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little pullback. Bulls have plenty of room to make a higher low and continue the uptrend. Although we do not have a tremendous amount of support on the way down. The closest one that I can see on the daily chart would be the breakout level in the 220s. So would it be a bad thing to see a higher low swoop down, reload around this huge pocket of price action and continue higher? Ultimately, on the daily chart, the bulls just need to make a higher low compared to that 211.92 level, so they have plenty of room to work with. But we can zoom in on the 4-hour chart just to get a better gauge. We do have a pivot low here at 227.86. And we can count this pocket of resistance down here, pocket of support down here at 216.56 as a potential buy area as well if price actually makes it down that far. So look for more price action development to ensue in order to get more clarity. But so far watching that inside bar. TAN continues to try to base here. Main pivot low that the bulls need to defend is that 112.30. And the main pivot high they need to break is that 123.66. So strong impulse move up, pull back, trying to base here, and look to be poised for uptrend continuation. Notice hugely declining volume on this pullback. Bull beats everywhere. So things are looking strong for the bulls. If they do break this low, 112.30, we have a gap to fill, and we are still maintaining an uptrend. Excuse me, I guess we are still maintaining bullish sentiment by forming a higher low compared to that 97.64. So ultimately, like I said, big run up, pull back. If we break this level, continue down, not the end of the world. So we'll do that a little bit better. Impulse, pullback, lower high. If we break that level, then yes, we are technically in a daily downtrend. Feel confident to call it that. But the most likely outcome would be bulls coming in, buying that dip, and then we could look to change it. Now, that's obviously thinking very, very into the future. So I'm not too confident on that plan, but just an idea. If these levels break, ultimately bulls look healthy here and in full control. XLV, still breaking out of that larger pennant. Inside bar day today, so watching the high of 117.38 or the low of 116.17 for directional confirmation. Ultimately, the bulls need to break that pivot high of 118.13 and defend that pivot low of 111.11. So this is exactly what the bulls needed. We did need that pullback, a little overextended on the RSI, which I'll show in a second. So you can see top down on RSI needs to cool off a little bit, so a pullback is warranted. So look for a little bit more consolidation to ensue. Good bull volume, so I would expect continuation higher. XLF, not quite an inside bar, but close enough. Keep an eye on that high of 31.40 at the low of 31.09 for directional confirmation. Bulls need to break that pivot high of 31.49 and defend this pivot low of 30.49. So we've got a dollar range to work with for the bulls. Bull volume is immaculate. So we'll keep all of these pivots on watch. XBI. So what I've been saying for a while, bulls need to defend this pivot low of 138.91 and ultimately break that pivot high of 152.70. Based on the size and volume that came behind this pullback, the lower high compared to that 152.70 is most likely outcome. Appear to be topping out a little bit here, so we might make a higher low compared to 138.91, continuing this equilibrium, and then break. I would view this as a bullish equilibrium if it forms up to be so. It still could technically just V-shape. I mean, it's possible that we can look at this as a bull flag, this little consolidation here as a brief bull flag, though that's a lesser likely outcome. So anyway, much more price action development needs to ensue. Either we break that level or we pull back. So I'll take a brief look at ACB and DM and a couple other stocks I've been trading. I like doing these little case studies. I think it's mutually beneficial. You guys get to learn, see my trading style, and I get to reinforce all those lessons within myself. So ACB, I entered a position today in the morning. So what I wanted to see was, we had this weird looking pattern here, but you can clearly see that we have low, lower high, higher low, higher high. We pulled back, and I was looking for that strong breakout to confirm that hourly trend change is, hourly trend change is set. I guess the word is, that's what I'm looking for. So strong bull volume came in with that break, entered into this candle right out of the gates, breaking over these highs. Right now, price action looks very healthy. We have a strong impulse move up, and we're just forming a higher low volume on the pullback. So we could potentially see a gap up in the morning tomorrow, or price action will open up somewhere around here, which the bulls will love. Buy that dip, see continuation over, looking for an add once we get that confirmation, break over the top. I know on the daily chart it is a little wicky. We do have that big upper wick, but you notice this huge volume shelf acting as support. Market, yeah, then this is when you have to gauge that market sentiment, right? So Dems in control, positive news for marijuana sector, technical breakout, great bull volume, holding this consolidation. I love when patterns do this. It's not a guarantee, but I've seen some of my best trades transpire from price breaks out and just holds this little consolidation period outside of the broader pattern, and then it just goes parabolic. I'll look at LAC. This is one trade that I remember very well. So we have this huge pattern. These are some arrows just to signify where I was looking for ads. So we have this big breakout, and then you can see this candle on December 28th and say, oh my God, that's a huge shooting star candle. That's not looking very healthy at all. And then we get this huge rep. So people adding into that consolidation, that brief week-long consolidation, same idea with ACB, right? So you have this big upper wick, but it's like, no, we've been holding this pattern, this breakout for a number of days. So that's looking, excuse me, that's looking very healthy. DM, a little disappointing. I thought once we broke those inside bars, we get follow through. However, I only took a 1/4 position just to test the waters. Actually, I took it yesterday just to test the waters, anticipating to break over. If you look at this consolidation, same idea, right? So here we're observing this pattern, big bull beat, bull volume in control all the way to back here in August. So buyer sentiment for sure. And now look at this pattern, very identifiable. Strong impulse move up, and now we're making a bull flag. So I'll be looking for continuation over these tops, adding through the tops as we make them. Nice little volume shelf forming over here and in here. So support levels, some support levels, but once we start seeing some follow through out of this bull flag, if we get that follow through this bull flag, that's where I'll be adding into positions. So like I said, I have about a 1/4 size in right now, just under a 1/3. Looking to get that full size once we see that strength. And what was another stock that I was looking at today? LAZR. Guess that's not the company name, but LAZR, something I've been noting. So here, perfect case. I like seeing this volume based off color, based off the close of the candle. So if the candle closes higher than the previous day, it prints a green node. I find this quite reliable. And if you think that's cheating on bull beats, then we can look at the extended hours chart and we see the same thing. So strong candle, strong price action development overall. So yeah, broke out today, pulled back, closed below in this pattern. However, look at what we are waiting to see transpire. So similar to ACB, so we have this strong impulse move up. You don't want to chase that. If you're an aggressive bull, you want to add into the pullback, which we're getting now. So it's the same idea as ACB, right? We might wake up tomorrow, might be a gap up, price opening up here, and we just see a jump out of the gates, or it'll open somewhere down here. Bulls will think, okay, I got to take advantage of that pullback, buy the dip, and then we'll see continuation out. So I haven't taken a position. I am looking for that hourly confirmation. I'm a patient bull. Pullback come in, and if we get a strong hourly break above these pivot levels up here, that'll be my sign, my cue to enter 1/3 size positions, 1/3 size of a position, and then adding into the highs or any bullish formations that ensue from there. So I hope you guys all enjoyed the video today and had a great day trading. I will talk to you tomorrow.